the royal black Hebrew Israel, what do you say? The royal black Hebrew Israelites calling a white man the devil cracker. So he watches us. He watches us. He knows about us.
If I may, to back up Elder Tahar, in Revelation 12 and 13, it says, and when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. Now, besides that being Herod represent who? The Edomites, which they're known in the scriptures as the dragon. Now, we looked up the word dragon. It means to see keenly. So these devils, they know, man. They know the history, and they know who they are, and they know their future. They know that they're going down, and they know they're going into slavery. That's why they made that movie Planet of the Apes, and they used the apes as a metaphor for us. All right? They use the apes as a metaphor for us. Showing
that's the elite. The elite, no, not the average everyday cracker.
Which they're known as the dragon. So they know. They know the elites of Esau. All right? And like I said, the apes was a metaphor for us, which they know they're going into slavery.
Now let's go. I said to go to Lamentation 1:3 to verse 5.
All right, Lamentations chapter 1 verse 3. Judah is gone into captivity because of affliction and because of great servitude. She dwelleth among the heathen, she findeth no rest. All her persecutors overtook her between the straits. The ways of Zion do mourn because none came to the solemn feasts. All her gates are desolate. Her priests sigh, her virgins are afflicted, and she is in bitterness. Bitter spirit. Her adversaries are the chief.
You know, when you put in this condition, and you've been here for hundreds of years, and you wake up to the fact that you're the chosen people, you're going to be bitter. Because you figure as soon as you wake up to this, you figure that the Lord should come and just deliver you. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Her adversaries are the chief. Her enemies prosper. For the Lord hath afflicted her by the multitude of her transgressions. Her children are gone into captivity before the enemy.
That's right. And who's the enemy? Esau, the so-called white man. This is the last slavery. Now get me Joel, the 3rd chapter, and you can start from the top.
It's the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Yea, and what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head.
You know, I looked up Tyre and Zidon. Now, Tyre and Zidon, the original inhabitants of that place were Canaanites. And we had went in there and we had took that whole region where the Canaanites dwelt and pushed them out. Well, now the people that are over there in where Tyre and Zidon is now, today, is where Lebanon is, and Beirut and Damascus. So these are so-called Arabs. So the Lord, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, is referring to the so-called Arabs, the Ishmaelites, the Midianites. All right, go ahead.
Because you have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians, that you might remove them far from their border.
Yeah, and that's plain. The Grecians are these so-called Edomites, because the word there is Yawan. Go ahead.
It says, behold, I will raise them out of the place whither you have sold them.
And the main place is America. So the Most High is going to raise us up out of this place. And we're in that time right now. Go ahead.
And will return your recompense upon your own head. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, And they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off.
Read that part again. It's talking about the Greeks, Esau.
And I will sell your sons and your daughters into.
So this proves that you crackers are going into slavery. Go ahead.
And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for the Lord hath spoken it. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord.
Yeah, so immediately after we're delivered, because this is all going to happen simultaneously. We're going to be delivered by them ships, and that's when those armies are going to be in the Middle East, and then they're going to go to war. And they're going to shoot off, there's going to come a point where they're going to shoot off those missiles, those ICBM missiles. And we're going to see the destruction of the wicked. That's in Psalms 91. So, I mean, like I said, we're almost out of here. The Most High stand Jacob, and it's only a matter of time. Now, let's go from there to Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter, and we're going to start from the top.
Deuteronomy chapter 30 verse 1. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither the Lord thy power hath driven thee, and shall return unto the Lord thy power, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that the Lord thy power will return thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy power hath scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the utmost parts of heaven, from thence...
Read that again. The utmost parts of heaven.
If any of thine be driven out unto the utmost parts of heaven.
What's the utmost part? We started from the Middle East. What's the utmost part of heaven? The west. Where are we at? We're in the west right now. So Moses is talking about us being in captivity in the west. Because the Babylonians, Egypt wasn't the west. It's not in the west. Babylon is not in the west. The Roman Empire is not in the west. Go ahead. The Medo-Persians were not in the west.
It says, from thence will the Lord thy power gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And the Lord thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good, and multiply thee above thy fathers. And
that's the kingdom. Go ahead.
And the Lord thy power will circumcise thine heart, and the heart of thy seed, to love the Lord thy power with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies. Verse 7. And the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies.
Okay, well, if you go back and read all the curses, it says now the Most High going to put all the curses on your enemies. So Esau is going to go into slavery. Esau is going to be sold on auction blocks. Esau is going to be whipped. Go ahead. Esau's women's going to be our concubines, because they had concubines among our women. Anyway, we're going to take a small break or intermission. Shalom.